Welcome to today's practice. Starting in seated pose today, hands to heart center as we set our intention. Hands back on our knees, taking a big deep breath in and exhaling as we bring the left arm overhead. Right hand is planted down on the mat. Over to the other side. Left hand's on the mat, right arm's coming over. Inhaling, exhaling as we stretch that side body. Once more each side. Just picking up the pace a little bit. And then folding the right knee over the left. Sitting tall, taking a big deep breath in and then forward folding over the knees. The feet are resting by the side of our hips. And just gently resting your chin or your forehead on the top knee. Feeling a beautiful deep stretch through the glute and around the hip. And then slowly coming back up, changing over to the other side. Left knee folds over the right, sitting tall and then exhaling as we forward fold. Taking a couple of deep, juicy breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly coming up out of this pose. Bringing the soles of the feet together for butterfly pose. Straight arms as our hands are interlaced around our feet, pulling our shoulders away from our ears. And then pushing our knees towards the mat. Getting that lengthening through the spine. And then slowly coming onto our knees into tabletop position. Just setting yourself up so that wrists are under the shoulders. And just rolling through 3 cat-cows at your own pace. Inhaling as we take our head high. Exhaling as we curl the back towards the sky. Inhaling, dropping our stomach towards the mat. Back to neutral spine, tucking the toes, pushing up into downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out the legs if that feels good. Maybe dropping the chest towards the knees. Letting the head hang heavy. And coming into high plank, engaging the arms, the core, the legs, and then slowly lowering the body down. We're going to go into phoenix pose here. So coming up onto the forearms, pulling the body towards the hands, relaxing the legs. And then pushing back into child's pose, taking the knees wide, the bottom sits down on the heels, arms going long, resting the forehead gently on the mat. Just going to roll through this sequence a couple more times. So lifting up, bringing the body back to the mat, coming up onto the forearms. Pulling our upper body forward towards our hands. You should feel a nice stretch in the lower back. And then pushing back into child's pose. We're going to run through these movements one more time. Continuing to breathe through each pose. And remembering if you have any injuries or any niggling, tight spots on the body, just pull back a little bit. Don't go past any limits that you might be carrying at the moment. And then just bringing the left knee up and bent to the side, coming back into Phoenix pose, but with a high knee this time. Or you can rest your head on your forearms. If you have a cushion, you can place that under the knee as well. Changing sides, the right knee bends up and out. Sitting up on our forearms, pulling our body forward, or resting their head on the forearms. And then the knees meet back in tabletop. Let's take a moment. We're going to run through 5 bird dogs here. So right arm goes out straight, left leg is straight, and we're tapping it 5 times to the earth, the hand and the foot simultaneously. Looking for that lengthening from the fingertips to the foot. This time left arm and right leg will go out straight. Just holding for a moment. And then 5 taps on the ground. Back to neutral spine. Maybe doing a few circles with the hips in one direction and then changing over, going the other way. Meeting back in downward facing dog. And just dropping back to the knees as we come into a seated position. Just going to slowly roll back onto our back. Bringing the right knee up and over the left leg. Taking our right arm out to the side. Going for this twisted pose. Changing legs. Left leg comes up and over the right. Taking our head and our gaze to the opposite direction. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit now. Just tying the breath in with each transition. One more time each side. And just windscreen wiping the knees side to side, getting a little bit more of a twist in the lower back. Bringing the feet shoulder width apart as we push up into a bridge pose, coming up onto our shoulders, squeezing the glutes at the top, and then gently lowering down to the earth as we push back up again. Just going to roll through that 5 times. Just holding it a little bit longer on the last. And then slowly coming down. Maybe tucking the knees up towards the chest. I'm just going to come into an inversion pose now, so bringing the legs up high, coming up onto our shoulders. Our hands are supporting our hips and our bottom, maybe just flexing and pointing the toes a couple of times. And then when you're ready, slowly lowering the legs overhead, pushing the back forward towards the head, and then bringing the knees down by the sides of our ears as we rest our feet on the earth, taking the forearms long and just taking a moment to breathe deeply into this pose. If you can't get all the way to the mat, that's okay. Maybe some days you can, some days you can't. And then pushing off the ground, just coming back to the mat, slowly lowering the body and the legs back down. Maybe hugging in the knees one more time. And then if you want to give your back a little bit of a massage, just rocking forwards and backwards. And then coming down to our final resting pose, Shavasana. Taking the legs long, the arms long by our side, letting the feet fall heavy. Relaxing the face, the forehead, the jaw, the neck, and just letting any tension go. And just giving yourself permission to let go of any tension, any stress. Feel yourself getting lighter and lighter as the tension leaves the body and you allow yourself to just be in this moment. Mind, body, spirit connected through breath and through this present moment in time. This sense of calmness is what we want to take into our day. As we deal with the busyness of life off the mat. We want to use the skills and the techniques we learn on the mat and take them into our everyday life to help us cope better. If you want to stay a little bit longer in Savasana, please do. You can press pause on the video. Otherwise, when you're ready, start to bring some movement back into the body. Maybe giving it a stretch. Stretching the hands and the fingers and the wrists and the forearms. And rolling over to one side before pushing up into the seated pose. Keeping the eyes closed down. Sitting nice and tall. Just checking in with the body and how you're feeling. And then taking a big inhalation as we bring our hands to our third eye. May we have kind and loving thoughts today as we lower them to our mouth. May we speak kind and loving words today as we lower our hands to our heart space. May we have kind and loving intentions today. Namaste.